Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Village Voices. My name is John Snader. I'm the president and CEO of Brethren Village. And joining me in the studio today is Ed Foster and Austin Byler. Ed and Austin are with the Lancaster Airport and Lancaster Airport Authority, and we're glad to have them in today to hear a little bit more about the airport and being a neighbor to the airport, what goes on over at the airport. So maybe you can just begin by telling us a little bit about the Lancaster Airport, its history, what goes on at the airport in a day's time, and all those things that our residents and supporters of Brethren Village are probably interested about Lancaster Airport.
Okay. I'll start and let Austin
Sure.
chime in as well. Lancaster Airport, we're run by a municipal board. We have a 5-panel board, 2 members from the city, 2 members from the county, and 1 jointly appointed that we report to. We are a very busy airport for a variety of reasons. Like we talked earlier, we're the 3rd busiest commercial service airport in the state of Pennsylvania based on operations. We have a little over 100,000 airplanes a year that take off and depart land from the airport. We have what we call essential air service, which is government subsidized air service for Southern Airways. They fly about 30 flights a week to Washington, Dulles, and Pittsburgh on Cessna Caravans, 9-seat aircraft. And then we also have nonstop service to Orlando, Florida, twice a week, going to 4 times a week in June. And that is new service that started last October.
And that's Breezy.
That's
That's the big blue tail.
Big blue Airbus 220 new aircraft. The people are using the service, really like it. Breeze, like I said, just announced 2 more flights. So starting June 6th, you'll start seeing Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday flights. Right now it's Thursday and Sunday. But yeah, it's been a nice addition to the airport. In addition to that, we have daily flights, corporate jets coming in for a variety of reasons, private aircraft, flight schools, military. Some people just come in to have a $100 burger, we call it, at the restaurant, because by the time you pay for your flight and your fuel, the burger's $100. But that's about it. Austin, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll just add, so the airport here on Airport Road was founded, opened in 1935. So we've been here about 90 years. When it was built, this area looked a lot different, fewer houses. But before that, it was on Manheim Pike. And I think that was, don't quote me on this, but started, I think, between 1920, something like that, and quickly outgrew the space. So the Lancaster City and the county got together and decided to find a new place that would be more appropriate for aircraft. And so it was a joint operation. And that today our board is still run by city and county appointed board. Although we are a separate entity, they do have their part.
So in 1920-ish,
Yep.
came out, and for our viewers, Brethren Village was here. So Brethren Village was your neighbor at that point. We were known as the Brethren Home at that time. So we've been neighbors for a long time. And I think that's been a good relationship between us. Ed, you had said something about 100,000 flights back and forth. So in terms of those commercial flights that we would see with the Breezy and the other flights to Pittsburgh, I think you had said,
Pittsburgh,
Dulles.
Washington, Dulles.
Most of the other flights are coming in as private kinds of aircraft.
Correct.
I know that from the past, in my career past, working with some of the businesses that were based over there, Lancaster Airport has a pretty positive reputation for its high quality mechanics and servicing. Is that still true?
It is. Again, I'll say a few things and let Austin chime. We have Lancaster Avionics. They book 6 months to a year out for people to bring their aircraft in from anywhere up and down the East Coast and further sometimes to have avionics, which is electronics upgrades to their aircraft or just maintenance. Weber Aviation, Aerotech, Fly Advance. We have a lot of top shelf maintainers here that work on aircraft, maintain them, service them, paint them, you name it. Fly Advance is the busiest Cirrus service center in the country, and it's right here.
Wow.
Aerotech is probably, if not the busiest flight school in the area. They educate future pilots to fly just as a private pilot all the way to a commercial pilot. And we have a litany of other ones that are, people come here. They come here for the reason of the reputation and the loyalty of the mechanics and the technicians.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some of those businesses, Avionics and Weber Aircraft, they've been on the airport almost since the beginning. And Ed's exactly right. We have that reputation. In the industry right now, there is a shortage of mechanics. It hasn't been felt as much at Lancaster Airport because aircraft mechanics want to work here because they know about the reputation and they know that we kind of stand out among the crowd. So.
And that's one thing. I'm an aircraft mechanic by trade too. I have my airframe and power plant license with the FAA. And one thing I've noticed since I've been here 4.5 years, this September made it 4.5 years, it goes by quick. There's no turnover here, not just with Lancaster Airport Authority, but with other companies at the airport. People that get here are qualified, loyal people, and they stay for a while. The businesses are solid businesses that have been here for decades and continue to do well. So I think that says a lot. As I travel and I have peers across the country, businesses come and go. That's not the case here. They're the ones that have been here for decades.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's one of those quotes that we often use in Lancaster County. It's good because it lasts, and it lasts because it's good. And I think the same can be said for companies, especially with the employees that they have. If they have good employees, it's really important to keep them. I know that we're seeing some development on the airport site. So I think there might be some new terminals that may have just been completed or pretty substantially completed. I think we also have heard and maybe see some dirt being moved on, what would that be, the northwest corner of the airport property. Insofar as you're at liberty to share, maybe what is some of the development that's going on at the airport?
I'll let Austin chime here. He's involved in that pretty depth.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the development outside of the terminal, and then I'll let Ed talk a little more about the terminal and the air service. But we do have a lot going on. One of the most obvious projects right now is the Aldi project on Millport and 501. That's about 2 years in the making, and that project started. We had a piece of land that was not suitable for aviation development, so we put out a request for proposals, and Aldi came to us and thought it would be perfect addition to the area. And what that does for us, we lease the land to them, and then they follow through and do all the work. It creates an income for us to be able to be self-sustainable. We don't take any kind of outside funding for anything really operating cost wise. So some of these businesses, including Penn Cinema, that was kind of the first non-aeronautical business we started. And then obviously the Sheets across the street from you guys is another one. So the Aldi project is about a year out from opening up. But in addition to that, we also have a few other businesses actually across 501 on the other side of Millport Road. We're talking to a company now about developing that corner because, again, same thing. It's not really suitable for aviation development. But the other big thing we have going on right now is we have a lot of businesses that are at capacity, which is kind of unique for airports. A lot of airports in the area have extra hangar space. They have these large hangars that they can't find anyone to fill the space with. And we have the opposite problem. We have businesses that are looking to expand and don't have the space. So I think right now we have 4 different hangar projects that we're working on. One business, Aerotech, we're looking at putting them all on the north side of the field along that Millport Road. And then another company, Venture Jets, they're adding an additional hangar, and then we're actually also doing a T-hangar project, which a T-hangar, for those of you that don't know, is basically if you have a small personal aircraft, a 172, you basically rent your own space, your garage, So we have 82 of those right now, and we have a waiting list of 45 different people that are looking to come here. So that's another thing we have a desperate need for. So
Mhm.
yeah, a lot going on, but yeah, all positive growth. So.
Mhm.
In addition to the 82 private aircraft, we have about 12 corporate businesses, of which 4 we're trying to take care of now. So we have about 12 businesses looking to move here from other locations, had we have extra hangars, but it's hard to build hangars at that speed. So we're trying to accommodate them. We do have people double stacked in some hangars, kind of sub-renting to each other to try to take care of that. The terminal, Austin mentioned, we are just finishing phase 1 of a multi-phase development of the terminal to try to accommodate our emergent growth that we're experiencing. We received a $3 million grant from the federal government last year to do that phase 1 and 2, and phase 2 is about to start in a couple of weeks to add bag claim to the inside of the terminal. Because right now, when people come in, the bags are picked up and deposited at the curbside, and it's not ideal because inclement weather could impact that. So we're going to be building an inside bag claim and additional offices for the Transportation Security Administration officers. But that project's going very well, and we now have 3 gates where we used to only have 1 gate.
Right.
So we have 3 gates, of which 1 is vacant. So we're ready for growth, and going to try to get some growth this week at an air service conference.
Mhm. Well, best of luck.
That's
to you.
right.
Best of luck to you. So I think as you're describing it, it gives our viewers a little bit more of an understanding of probably how business is changing and the importance of air as far as making connections and also conducting business. And I have heard some discussions, I think at one point in a meeting that I may have been involved with about the airport, even thinking about the technology that's changing. So did I hear correctly that there's some thought that we might actually see electric powered airplanes?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, there's a business, Beta Technologies. They approached us about 2 years ago. They have a business model where they have all electric aircraft that fly up and down the East Coast. Primarily, they're working now with Oregon transport companies. So they're all electric aircraft. They're piloted aircraft, and their model is 2-hour flights up and down the East Coast. Right now, the way this works for non-electric aircraft, larger jets, they get a call in the middle of the night, hey, we have an order that needs to move here. And so you have 2 pilots get up, and it's a long process. And the idea with this is it's going to make it quicker, quieter, more efficient. So this company installed an electric aircraft charger next to our terminal. That project wrapped up about 6 months ago, and we're told in the next few months we're going to start seeing aircraft come in and using that service. So in addition to that, technology-wise, referring to Breeze, our large aircraft that I'm sure many of you have seen fly in, technology has gotten a lot better with aircraft noise. The FAA back in the 70s, believe it or not, started a process to look for ways to eliminate or quiet aircraft. And aircraft today are much quieter than they were 30 years ago. So much so that Airbus A220, the Breeze aircraft, is about half the noise as a small 6-seat jet.
Mhm.
So that amazes a lot of people, but you don't really hear it come in and out until it's right over top of you versus, an old 70s model jet that is loud. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can say that living across from the airport, it is amazing just how quiet a lot of those aircraft are. And maybe that's a good segue into some things that I know the airport has been dealing with. One of those is just environmental issues. What's been happening with the fuels that are used. I know that the community sometimes will ask questions about what happens with fuels, and the safety of those fuels. And certainly, as we experienced here, just overall aircraft safety. And maybe it'd be helpful, maybe our viewers would like to just hear a little bit more about what the airport does to ensure safety of pilots, passengers, and the community at large. I don't know who wants to.
Yeah, so we are a federally regulated airport, which means pretty much everything we do at the airport authority, construction-wise or business-wise, needs to go through an FAA process, and that in turn goes through a NEPA process, an environmental process. So whether it's building a T hangar or building a shed, we have to do an environmental impact study with the FAA. And I can tell you that process hasn't gotten easier, but it is a thorough process, and they don't miss anything. And I think, to the benefit of everyone in the community, things are getting safer. For example, the foam we use on our aircraft rescue and firefighting truck, we recently upgraded our system, and we now have a foam that is environmentally friendly, where before, there were some questions about some of the environmental impacts of that. And, we test all of our storm basins and have not had any of this foam show up. And fortunately now with the latest accident, we had a foam that it does not have a large impact.
Mm-hmm.
And also with the fuels, we're again a FAA Part 139, which is a regulation airport, which means we get inspected every year by the federal regulations. They come in, do a comprehensive day-night inspection that includes air fuel. It includes, since we are the fuel provider also, we're the only fuel provider on the airport, we get very tight in industry inspections for regulatory fueling, training, disposal, how do we disperse it, and also our fuel provider also holds us to a very tight standard. So we have to answer to both state, local, and federal regulations on all that. So we take it very seriously.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know over the years in spending my career in Lancaster County, the reputation of the Lancaster Airport and the Airport Authority for its integrity, its attention to safety and community needs has always been very high. So as a neighbor, we appreciate that. We also appreciate the investments that you've made that have really enriched the lives of Brethren Village residents. I think a lot of us appreciate the fact that we can go over to Sheetz, get our coffee and get our fuel, and some necessities every now and then. And I think a good number of our residents will be looking forward to the Aldis showing up on that northwest corner. So I thank you for your time. I know you have really busy schedules. I appreciate you coming over today, sharing with our residents and the Brethren Village extended family out there in the cyberverse a little bit about what's happening at the Lancaster Airport. I also want to say, as the CEO of Brethren Village, we do thank you for the very prompt response to the incident on March 9th. I plan to be at one of your airport authority meetings to make a formal expression of appreciation, but also want to say to you two, we appreciate your presence. You were here on site helping and providing support, and we just want to thank you for being such a good neighbor to Brethren Village. So that'll wrap up this episode of Village Voices. I hope you have found Austin and Ed to be helpful in understanding this important neighbor and good neighbor we have with the Lancaster Airport. Until next time, I wish you a very good day.